Welcome, listeners, to the top rated comedy history podcast on this side of the Appalachian Mountains, the Full Send Rejects. That's according to me, by the way. We are we are your hosts of this debacle. I'm Kodack.
I'm Rose.
Billy.
I don't know why it's always open.
It is.
This week, Rose dives into the crimes of Madame Lalaurie. I talk about the personal life of Jerry Sandusky as a prelude to next week, where I go into his diddling, and Billy begins his talk into the Molly Maguires.
Hooray.
But first, we have our pre-topic banter, which I just found out Eminem has a new album coming out.
Ooh.
I have never been so happy. You cut that negativity out right now. I have never been so happy to go take a shit. I just saw that as I went to go to the bathroom before we started. Apparently, last night during Jimmy Kimmel, or the night before, Dr. Dre was on there and announced that Eminem's coming out with a new album, and he produced a lot of the songs. So, despite Billy being a negative Nancy, I'm excited.
All right, now that I
Yeah.
know that,
Yeah, hey, his last few albums were amazing. Okay,
I wasn't a fan of the last
it
one.
was, I say that I forget what one the last one was. Let's see here.
Uh-huh.
'Cause I remember like he went through a period where it
Just
was
like
like I want to make
everybody else.
political. I'm pretty sure. Let's see here.
Kamikaze?
Curtain Call 2. No, Music We Murdered By. That was a great album.
Oh, yeah, that was the one. I wasn't a big.
Yeah, music. I enjoyed it because it went Music We Murdered By, Kamikaze before that, and Revival was just no. Eminem, what are you doing?
I
Eminem, Dr.
thought
Dre's
Eminem
back.
would end.
Revival was the only album where I was like, can you please come back to who you are?
Recovery
I very much
fucking got me
appreciate.
hard.
Oh yeah, it was Eminem on drugs and Eminem on the recovery. That was like amazing.
Yeah, like I
Like it
fell
was,
off when he was on the heavy drugs, and then Recovery came out. I'm like, dog.
yeah. Back when he was rapping about killing his baby mama and whatnot.
Gen Z, shut the fuck up.
you It's a joke, but if like Eminem started today, he would have been canceled. They would have tried so
1,000%.
hard.
And today he
how it-
probably would have got taken down, but he's a fucking legend. Let him go.
He is a legend. Asshole Gen Z. I'm born after 1996. I hate everything that I don't agree with.
Are you just saying 1996 because you were born in 1995?
I'm saying 1996 because that's the general agreement of when Gen Z started,
Correct.
which I made
It's
sure
the end of the
2 weeks ago.
millennials.
I hate Gen Zers.
I do.
And I'm like, am I attacked right now or no?
I do. I hate them so much.
Do you hate her? Are you going to cancel your wife?
I'm not Gen Z.
You try.
I'm the last of the millennial.
You're the start of the downfall.
The young pup.
I'm an Aryan.
Young pup.
Settle down, grandparents.
Flip phone. The razor heads.
I had a flip phone.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Back in our day, we had Motorola. We played Snake.
I had that too.
If we were lucky.
I had that as well.
Nokia,
That was my
bitch.
first. Yeah, I had a Nokia my first time. All I did was play Snake on it.
The silver or the
And
blue
try to,
one?
I think I had the silver one.
Ooh, high class.
I didn't have a cell phone until I was 19.
Well, should have gotten a job.
It was
I
called I
had,
Needed
like-
Food.
I had like track phones and shit, but never my own till like 18.
I think I had track phones. The first time I had my own phone, I think I got one. I forget when, but I ended up getting my own when I started working at McDonald's. My teenage
it's like-
time.
I was like 18
Yeah,
and it
look
was
at
still a flip phone.
I don't think I had a non-flip phone until. Oh my god, no! That was the one I got when I worked at McDonald's. I got an iPhone. Yeah, up until
I
then,
had
it was
one on
flip
a full
phones and.
keyboard. That was dope.
Ooh, I don't think I ever had one of those phones, but definitely remember them.
It wasn't like the Sidekick.
Yeah.
It was just a Samsung slide thing.
Didn't that kind of make like a semi comeback? Like a few years ago, some phone came out where like you just had like a keyboard like that.
I think they were either talking about, or people wanted the sidekick back? I mean, I'd take a sidekick back.
I do enjoy a nice Robin. Get it? Sidekick.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Makwa
Real funny,
But
Speedy.
there are there are some other happenings going on right now. March Madness just started today.
Sports.
Sport. That's being no Billy doesn't care. He's just being supportive.
There was an upset today. I saw that. DraftKings told me.
Yeah. It's Duquesne, Duquesne, however you say it. They put there's a couple actually. I was impressed with myself because through 6 games I still had a perfect bracket, so that was my win. Um, yeah, Duquesne beat BYU 71-67.
What?
Oregon beat South Carolina. That was an upset.
Fuck yeah, they did.
I actually picked them to win that game, my bracket, because for you.
Well, I appreciate it. They'll take
I know you don't care about basketball, but we do have on the TV right here in front of us Oakland, a 14 seed, playing against Kentucky, a 3 seed, and Oakland is doing well. They're winning in the second half. So
another upset.
Do you have that
Bracket
on your
buster.
bed?
no, I have Kentucky.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I have 25 brackets, okay? Because ESPN lets me make 25 brackets, and if you do the best, you get a prize. And I no longer have a perfect bracket. Cool.
You spoke too soon.
I have 97.6% correct so far, which puts me at the rank of 638,000. It was the 6th
Jesus
bracket I made.
Christ.
Well, there's millions and millions of brackets in here, so that's not terrible. Yeah, so it's okay. It's all in fun.
It's all.
I never understood how it worked.
Well, see, okay, so how college basketball works is, they have the regular season. Well, they usually start the season with like little mini tournaments.
Uh-huh.
Like the Bahamas own tournament of like 6 or 8 teams or whatever. And you play your out of conference games and then you play your conference games. Okay. At the end of the regular season, you have conference playoffs, which it just goes by your conference record. That's it. So your best conference team against your worst, yada yada yada, and then the Illuminati or whoever picks the best 64 teams to go into the March Madness tournament. And if you win your conference tournament, you get an automatic bid.
It seems like
And
so much.
it really is, but like when you watch it, it's so entertaining because shit always happens. And like there's 4 regions, each region has 16 teams. It's just because every year, especially lately, there's some shit ass team that should not do anything that goes far. Like last year, there was St. Peter's, the Peacocks, who was a 15 seed from a shit area, like never did anything that's like in basketball, went to like the Elite Eight or something, which is like unheard of.
No shit.
Yeah, it's been a trend lately because we like the previous 2 before that was the first 2 times that number 1 lost to a number 16 seed. It's been fun. It's been a fun time.
College
What's
sports
great
are
about
pretty.
this what's great about this tournament is Villanova sucked this year and they didn't get in, so I have no like dog in the fight, so I can just enjoy it.
That could go one of two ways. Either I care, like, just for the chaos, or I just don't give a shit at all.
It really is just chaotic. I mean, then again, the first time I like watched a tournament was in 16 when Nova won, and they like won at the last second against I think it was North Carolina, and it was like regarded as one of the best games in college basketball history.
Yeah.
So I go intro to college basketball, but something else next week will be this week when this episode comes out is happening, MLB opening day.
Now we're talking.
Thank you for staying with me and just being excited for me for March Madness. But yeah, MLB opening day. The international opening day already happened yesterday as at this recording when was it the Padres and Dodgers played. It was a bomb.
Yamamoto got smacked.
He got smacked and there was bomb threats. Otani is in the
Holy shit!
middle of his
Really?
own. Oh yeah, yeah. So somebody claimed to be. It's crazy. Someone claimed to be a Japanese lawyer, sent a threat to a Canadian Mountie that he was going to blow up the stadium where they're playing in South Korea. And apparently, this guy's been doing this for a while, where he's just been calling in bomb threats, claiming to be this Japanese lawyer, and they cannot figure out who the hell it is.
Oh, that sounds fun.
But they had like thousands of police officers there. They did a scan, they did X-rays, bomb sniffing dogs before the game started. Found nothing. But yeah, it was crazy.
Huh.
And we already have our first drama of the year. Otani is in his own little scruffer right now, where apparently I didn't see the whole thing yet because I just saw before we started. But there's some scandal where one of his like people, like business people, were
His
like scamming him
interpreter
or interpreter, yeah, was like taking his money and doing something with it.
paying off gambling debt.
Yeah, something like that. But what I would like to know is what you guys expect for your teams, the Yankees, in the race this year.
I expect us to have nothing but shit talking and shaming the whole entire season,
Okay. Okay.
especially between me.
I was expecting what your
Well,
team is
whatever
going to
then.
do this
Oh,
year.
just
Hey, wait, fuck you. Pirates can do things, okay? I can be involved in shit talking,
oh,
okay?
well, I expect my team to do greatness outside of molesting children because we got rid of all those people
Yeah, the
that do
bar is
that.
pretty low this year for that and guard the whole like morality of the team.
However, they were doing good in spring, like, spring training. So, it's just they look good.
Hmm. So they're doing good in spring training, and then the Pirates beat their asses quite often in spring training. World Series or bust here, baby.
You can talk your shit, but you guys, it's not that the Pirates aren't well, they just have a habit of shitting the bed.
No, they're not well.
They start off looking potentially great.
No, no. Last year was the best year since they went to the playoffs 10 years ago.
They just need to give your hopes up just a little bit before they completely shit on you.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's not good. Reynolds
That
isn't
is
playing that well, so
apropos.
but you know what? I live for it. Penguins failed me this year. Villanova failed me this year. Sixers failed me this year. Pittsburgh gives me hope. I mean, I should say the Steelers give me hope for next year. Because we're the queens of football. But I don't know.
Uh-huh.
What do you think for the Yankees, Billy?
I think the Yankees will probably play good, and then injuries will take them out like they always do. They might get to 100 wins this season. We'll see.
Aaron Judge is just going to carry them on their back.
Until he runs into a fucking wall or something.
Juan Soto is going to carry them on his back.
Until he tears his ACL. Are we still doing our injured draft?
I was going to ask you about that.
I just thought about that. We're talking about injuries. Should that be the bonus episode for the week?
Oh, we're going to
Could
have to
be.
put a lot of research into that.
Do you think I'm doing that much research?
Dude, I know the Yankees. Oh, anyone else?
About 90% of the research I've done was listen to you saying Yankees get hurt all the time. The other 10% was me Googling once most injured players in baseball.
All right. Yeah, no, we could do
That
this.
was, that was about it. There's not much going into this. I mean, I figured we can use like Yahoo or one of the apps just to do like a draft. We keep track of it and then just see who's injured every day.
All right.
But no adding or dropping players. We get who we get and we ride the wave.
Why are you going to drop someone? It's not like you
No,
got
I'm just
injured.
saying. No, like we establish the things now, so something doesn't come up later. Okay, listen, I've dealt with people in fantasy that take things way too serious and try to argue with things that are preset. Okay, not gonna name
Yeah,
names, but
no, we all have.
no shit. But if the Pirates hit, I don't know, 550 this year, if they get to the wild card, I'll be impressed. I'll take that as a win
I will. I do root for the Pirates, believe it or not.
because they're sad.
Except for yesterday when Giancarlo Stanton hit 3 home runs off of him.
Yeah, well, Priester, we reversing our actual pitchers. Okay, that's why.
Oof. Maybe you should give him
It's
a
okay.
few more cracks at it.
Listen, just wait for Skeens to come up. When Skeens comes up, he's going to be a Cy Young winner.
Tiny Tommy John.
Shut up.
And then gets traded to the New York Yankees where he becomes the next Cy Young winner.
Now, the last guy that happened with, isn't he out already?
Um, yeah. About a month.
It's okay. It's all lesson learning. Speaking of lessons, somebody learned how dumb teenage boys are.
Yeah. Teenage boys are dumb. Just boys in general are dumb.
Watching Super Bad,
Boys are
and
dumb.
was it
Boys are
Fogel?
dumb.
Was it Fogel that was being flirt? Oh no, it was what's his name character? Evan.
Yeah.
Being flirted with, and he's just oblivious to it.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, boys are stupid.
Yeah. So Billy, what was the time in your life that someone flirted with you and you didn't realize until later?
Uh,
Your wife doesn't.
wait, what?
Your wife doesn't count.
I plead the fifth on this one.
You plead the fifth because you don't want to say it, or because you don't remember.
Who was flirting with me?
Well,
A woman with a giant pot leaf. She tried to get me alone, and I'm like, girl, I don't want to deal with this. It's okay. That's on me for putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm confused.
No, we'll let you sit on that one. We'll let you simmer on that topic right there. We'll come back to. We'll circle the wagons back to it.
what about you?
Me, I think I worked at McDonald's. Someone was like giving me signs, and I just like never like took to it. Didn't realize till I'm like, oh, that was flirting. But I didn't take it because I was a hard grinder at work. I had no time for women, filthy wenches. What, they wanted my McDonald's, my big bucks.
Your McBucks.
Yeah, my McBucks. It's okay. I ended up with the right one.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. I always know when you're flirting with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was it when I left you on red?
You're a cocksucker.
Couple months, right?
Okay. Before I get to the this morning, um before I went to work, I'll go over a kiss to bed and whatnot. Before we move on to the next subject here, I noticed that my 3 foot stuffed Godzilla, is on her side of the floor. So I pick it up and I put it next to her where I sleep. And Miss Observant here thought it was me in bed still that I called off work.
Listen, when you are in a state of REM and there is a big something that's
Oh, snow big. Okay.
broad in
Oh,
proportion,
God.
and
Okay.
I'm all about Godzilla either at the foot of the bed or off the bed.
Pretty fucking rude.
You're always attacking me with him.
You
I
better
love
be
him
the
there to
man who
protect you.
calls you Godzilla from now on.
So I will what he's you know what?
Godzilla.
What he's not saying is that I woke up very disappointed. I woke up thinking I was cuddling Anthony.
She was cuddling the lizard. She goes, I thought it was you, but it was the fucking lizard. Which, by the way, he's not a lizard. He's a nuclear dinosaur
He's
thing.
a
Okay.
fucking lizard. So I turn off my goddamn alarm, roll over, and I was gonna ask him how he was feeling. I look over, I'm like, this isn't Anthony. And I'm like, why the fuck am I cuddling this thing and how did it get here? So Anthony messages me in the morning and he's like, hey, got to work, have a good day. And then like ends it with a little
Hey, I put I love you too, okay?
yeah, well, he always say I love you. But he ends it with the little fucking dinosaur
Emoji.
emoji. And I'm like, things are making sense now.
This was strategic.
He planted Godzilla in my arms, trying to catch me in the act of cuddling a lizard.
And then she says, you want me to cuddle this lizard? I'm like, apparently you can't even tell us apart in bed, so
I was sleeping.
excuses.
So I came when I went upstairs after work and I went upstairs, I started cuddling the lizard.
Booty was in there. I don't care.
It's
It's Dragon's Three-Way.
it's dragon.
There's a Devil's Three-Way. Dragon's Three-Way. Oh, speaking of inappropriateness, Billy, you want to talk about molesters? at Nickelodeon.
Oh, yeah, I'm just now because I live in a bubble in bumfuck. I'm just finding out that there's a whole lot of molesting going on at Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Molesters.
Dan Schneider,
Um,
not a great guy.
no, not very good at all. Apparently, there's a new thing now, documentary. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard about it. But
Quiet
yeah,
on the Set is what it's called.
yeah. Apparently, he was like grooming the kids and trying to like redo very sexual, suggestive scenes. Like, there's
You got a
once I
foot
forget what.
fetish.
Yeah, he had a foot fetish. There was one scene like he kept redoing because it reminded him of like the money shot. Some would say.
Oh, there was
These are
a scene with Kat from Victorious where she was like upside down, spreading herself with water and shit. It was a whole big thing.
That's probably it. Yeah, yeah, not good. And apparently, there were some people that like saw like this behavior and didn't really do anything. I mean, I first knew about this a couple years ago because I saw a video from Jenna McCurdy, the girl who played like Carly. What was
Sam,
her character's name? Was it just Cat?
Sam.
Mm,
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah, you're right, Sam. She played there and she had her own show. Oh, she had her show with Cat,
Yeah, Ariana
I think.
Grande.
Yeah.
Sam and Kat.
Yeah. And where she's like, I quit because of this. Like this guy, he was just verbally abusive. He got very like sexual harassment. I'm like, oh, okay, there goes some of the shows I enjoy in life.
So they offered her an NDA for they offered her 30 grand if she'd sign an NDA and she quit right there.
Yeah, that would do it. I mean, good for her for, not signing an NDA and just going on with her life and speaking up about it.
Yeah, she a bad bitch.
It's like, if she didn't speak up, who knows how much longer it would have went down. Apparently, Drake Bell was also like someone who got diddled,
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the Drake part yet, but that explains a lot of things.
like that he was going after teenagers himself when he was a little elder.
Yeah, that would explain some things. Not justifying it, but it would explain some things.
Well, they do say that often, teens or kids are molested, that messes with them, psychologically, and when they hit a certain age, like, what if I did this? It's not good, not good.
Fucked up
Break the
world we
cycle.
live in.
But if we have no more comment about Nickelodeon molesters, I got a molester to talk about.
Oh,
We
yeah.
are.
Molesters, but I'm going into about Jerry Sandusky. Um, I was going to do the whole thing tonight, but I didn't finish my write up because I was going to finish it yesterday. But then I saw it was our good friend Karina's birthday. So I'm like, hey, you want to do a shot? So I FaceTimed her and we ended up doing 3 shots. Um, and then afterwards, CJ called. So we did like 2 more shots while he was talking about L. Ron Hubbard. Um, So I don't want this to, I'm trying to get ahead of the narrative right now. I don't want to look like I'm lazy. We should look at a story where I care about my friends more about this podcast. So, and that I'm humble enough to know that I made a mistake. So just putting that
I
out
full
there.
Her head
blown.
is still in her big trio in her big girl job.
Yeah, her big girl job.
Her big girl
Yeah,
job.
where she does doctor things now.
I full blown blame myself for being lazy.
It's okay. We're here. We got content mostly. It's gonna be a good episode. So luckily I was at a good cutoff where this week I will be discussing Sandusky's early life, his personal life, a little bit into his coaching career as well. And then next week I will discuss the sexual misconduct that he partaken against children. Um and really I would just kind of just been missing football for a little bit now. So that's why I decided to think back to the glory hole days of Penn State and talk about Jerry Sandusky. I know it's wrong to make joke, but you have to make jokes about certain things.
Oh, just taking on a heavy fucking task here this week, boy.
You said I couldn't make jokes about Nickelodeon, but you didn't expect me that the jokes over here.
No, I should have expected it. All of it.
It's okay. Like I said, I'll be covering his background of his life, his coaching career this week, and next week I will just go into how of a horrible person he was to babysit, child sit, whatever. So Sandusky was born in Washington, PA in 1944 and was the only son of Irish Catholic homemaker Evelyn May and Pollock Arthur Sandusky, who served in youth service programs for over 30 years. He was mostly the director of the Brownson House in Washington, PA. Arthur founded the PA junior wrestling program, basketball, volleyball, boxing, and football for the Brownson House, as well as improving facilities for the kids to use. He also managed the 1955 Washington baseball team that won the Pony League World Series, and he was eventually inducted into the PA Sports Hall of Fame in 1989.
Brats.
Yeah, so his dad was a very successful, very big on helping kids in the area, did a lot for them. However, growing up, Jerry would adopt his own moral code in which he named Jerry's Law. I grew up with a similar thing in my house. It was very abusive. It hurt. Oh my god, I made a joke about this. Am I right? I didn't even see it. Yeah, growing up with the Jerry in my house, I already have bad feelings about this. His self-imposed rules was that he could be mischievous but not intentionally hurt anyone. Keyword intentionally. He vowed to not be disrespectful towards teachers, and he swore to be honest if he broke any of his rules. I don't think he followed through with this when he became an adult. Um, Growing up, he was very fond of Forrest Gump. He would later actually tell one of his victims that he identifies himself with Gump and signed a letter to his victims as Forrest Jet, which was a reference to the movie.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Now you might be wondering what qualities does Sandusky thinks that he have that are similar to Forrest Gump. Luckily, during the trial, a love letter was released. He found himself naive to the world and not very smart and happy because that means he could only be a caring person. We'll let that one sizzle for a second.
Oh,
He found, yeah, yeah. As soon as I got here, I'm like, oh, he's worse than I thought, just mentally.
you.
Um, so said he found himself surrounded by people who could only be happy like his wife if they lived life in the fast lane. Yeah, kind of weird vibes Sandusky attended Washington High School in Washington, PA, where he played baseball, basketball, and football. In his final season, he was the captain of the basketball team that went undefeated through the Western Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic League playoffs. Despite being a star athlete and apparently handsome, he was a loner who never dated. I guess it just took a few years for old Sandusky to be interested in school age kids.
Hmm.
This is gonna be one of those instead of it gets worse, it's gonna be he gets worse.
Yeah, well,
Oh, yeah.
this episode get worse because I don't dive into the crimes yet. I did begin read some of the old newspaper articles and online articles regarding for my research for this. Yeah, it's bad. Not Jer Bear would play for Rip Engel's Penn State team and started at defensive end from 1963 to 1965. Ironically, Sandusky would come back years later to break through some defensive ends.
Jesus Christ.
I'm a Penn State fan. I'm allowed to make jokes, okay? It comes out of pain.
I don't think it worked.
Listen, you said Jesus Christ, and she just slowly turned her head and stared at me like, what the fuck? Listen, I'm a Penn State fan, and I'm a victim of sexual abuse growing up. I'm allowed to make jokes, okay? It's my defensive mechanism. Argue that logic. Go ahead.
I'd rather not. I can, but I don't want it.
All
Thank
right,
you.
well, this needs to be a little stronger.
In 66, not 69 yet, that comes later, Sandusky graduated first in his class. He graduated first in his class with a BS in health and earned a physical education degree in 1970 as well. Now, before I get into his coaching career and crimes, I can't help Billy's laugh. It's making me laugh now. I'm going to give a little more background into Sandusky's personal life as an adult outside of balls.
I can't.
What? He's picking the football.
Sports.
Sports. In 1966, he married Dorothy Dottie and they had 6 children while also serving as foster parents. Now, some of these 6 children were also adoptive
Ooh.
parents, so or adoptive kids. So, just putting that in there. 2 of his sons went on to have their own impact on football. John Sandusky was the director of player personnel for the Cleveland Browns from 2010 to 2014. Kind of funny you think about it now that they have Watson as their quarterback.
Oh, come
Aw.
on.
Aw.
Yeah. And E.J. Sandusky, who was an assistant football coach at Westchester University, he was safe because his name's not BJ.
Oh,
It's okay. I actually thought while I was typing this, I learned there's a program where you can write to inmates, and I almost got the idea to write to Sandusky, see if he wants like give any comments, just in the what if chance. And I realized I could not do this because like I'll get so infuriated. Um, because as a little like preclude to next week, they're still fighting the charges today.
Jesus.
oof.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to claim that there's evidence that wasn't provided and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can't because I won't give a fair, not fair, but I won't give like a, what's the word? Not independent, but, you don't have a certain view
Bias.
on something. Bias. Yeah. I don't have a non biased thing against it. So, and it's good to see. I try to be professional here. So,
Oh, you're trying.
yeah, I don't succeed very often. Hey, number one history comedy podcast on this side of the Appalachian Mountains. Okay, you heard it today. During the trial over sex abuse against Jerry, one of his adoptive children, Matt, released a statement through his attorney said he was molested by his adopted father when he was a child. Now, up until this point, he denied being abused. However, now he claimed he was prepared to testify at the trial if need be. His mother, like his biological mother, told the Patriot News that she believes Sandusky stole her son from her. Sandusky's attorney, Joe Amendola, stated that this was a false accusation based on anger at the Sandusky family. Accuser number 4 testified previously that Jerry touched him in the shower with Matt present, but that he left when the assault actually began. Yeah, not good stuff. Again, this is a prelude of the bullshit that happens next week. February 13th, 2017, Jeff, another adopted child of the Sanduskys, was actually arrested himself and charged with sexual assault of a child and possessing child porn. He entered a plea deal and was given 3.5 years to 6 years in prison after pleading guilty to sending a teenage girl a naked photos and then asking her teen sister to perform the same acts that she was simulating in these pictures. Yeah, not good stuff.
Yeah, no.
Apparently, the nut does not fall far from the tree. Um, this might come as a shock, but Jerry was a man of faith. Yeah.
They all are.
Or yeah, what if they
Um,
all?
you're about to feel like a bunch of dickheads soon. Wait for this. I think I put him for this week. But he was a member of St. Paul's United Methodist Church and State College. What will actually come as a surprise is that during this whole scandal, the church actually invested a lot of time and money into educating its congregation on identifying sexual abuse and how to support victims.
They did a stand-up job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they didn't see that one coming.
Wow.
None of it did.
This is a serious matter here, okay? Oh my god, how could you?
Oh yeah, because I'm a bad guy here.
So now, for his coaching career, Sandusky began as a graduate assistant at Penn State under Paterno in 1966. This is actually very common for um, athletes who become coaches to become grad assistants first in college. He also served as the assistant basketball and track coach at Juniata College in '67. In '68, Sandusky was the offensive line coach for Boston University. However, he would return to Penn State in 1969 as an assistant coach. Told you 600 comes up later.
It
You, you thought I was being silly.
always does.
Yeah. He served various roles until his retirement in 1999. Beginning in '69, he was a defensive line coach, transitioned to linebacker coach the following year. And this was until his promotion to defensive coordinator in '77, where he helped earn Penn State the title of linebacker U due to the reputation for having some of the best linebackers in the sport just consistently. Two of these included Jack Ham, who won 4 Super Bowls and entered the Hall of Fame with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Just throwing that one out
Yeah,
there.
some good came out of this. And LeVar Arrington, who had an amazing career with both Washington and I believe Dallas. He played for Dallas with the Giants, I think, towards the end of his career.
No idea.
He was a pretty good linebacker. His last game was Paterno's only shutout win at a bowl game, which was a 24-0 win over Texas A&M. So after his retirement, Sandusky was granted to access to most of Penn State's athletic facilities and was given $168,000 for some reason. Like many people thought this was weird. Like it's usual, like, okay, you can have access to facilities. You did a lot here. You were meant a lot to our program, been here for 30 years. Whatever. Probably good for morale anyway.
But a
Probably didn't
lot
help.
bad. Much money?
Yeah. But they usually don't like offer money like that either. But it is a big school and they did win some national titles too. So to each their own.
Here's a large sum of money.
Imagine $169,000.
The irony.
Now, in his retirement, Sandusky hosted several football camps and kept active in his children's charity, the Second Mile, which he founded in 1977. Second Mile was a nonprofit that aimed to help at-risk children and their parents, with Sandusky noting that and this is an actual quote, not making a joke here, touched 100,000 kids annually.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine seeing that after everything came out.
He took that shit seriously.
Yeah, that's a quote from Sandusky, okay? I'm not making it funny.
This is
I'm not
called
making fun about
dedication.
At least
Yeah.
it wasn't anal. I'm surprised you didn't spell it wrong.
No, I just put an extra space in there or something.
Okay.
Now, his efforts to touch 100,000 kids was actually commended by George H.W. Bush as a shining example of a thank you. Oh, that's my joke. As a shining example of a volunteer community organization.
Bum, bum.
Bum, bum. So HW wasn't the only politician to honor Sandusky's work for charitable kid touching. U.S. Senator Rick Santorum honored Sandusky with the Angels in Adoption Award in 2002. Now, this is an award that is given to people by members of Congress. They'll nominate people. It's for hard work for adoption, foster care, and child welfare communities.
Oh.
Previous winners include Muhammad Ali, Bruce Willis, Rosie O'Donnell, and Laura Bush.
That's a list.
Oh yeah, it was some of the winners I saw on there. During Santorum's 2012 presidential run, he mentioned he regretted giving Sandusky this award and was absolutely devastated by the scandal. And I began to look at like, okay, was this like bullshit thing a politician's going to say just because he's going for president? I actually came to believe his regret because he actually tragically lost one of his children. I guess his one child was born premature, like week 20, and didn't make it. And his other kid has an extra chromosome that causes a lot of health issues, not just on like the autism spectrum, but like heart problems and stuff like that. And also seeing that Santorum has like a lot of relationships in Penn State area. He has a lot of rental properties and stuff like that. I actually do kind of believe this kind of like got to him a little bit.
Yeah, he was like our governor or something, wasn't he?
I think so. That part I probably should have looked into, but I didn't. I was just kind of like looking at this whole Second Mile thing.
So what did you mean by the whole autism spectrum.
Well, because usually when you think here extra chromosome or missing chromosome, it's like, they have Down syndrome or something. I was clarifying that there's actual, it was like a trisomy 16, I think it was called, that his other kid has.
It's just that you did the whole.
Oh, I did the arm movement. Oh shit. Well, didn't mean that one. Thank God this isn't a video cast.
Literally, no one would have known.
Yeah, I didn't even know until she said something.
Well, I was offended.
Well, I'm sorry.
Half of us are risen with the tism, and you go and make those gestures like it's.
Well, if I have some of the tism, like I can be a little bit of the ism. Izzle. Anyway, so I'm close to wrapping up here. So some of
He
the
wasn't.
no one got AIDS, so I think. So some of Second Mile's honorary board members included Andy Reid, Phillies owner Rully Carpenter, Marky Mark of the Funky Boys or Funky Bunch, Arnold Palmer of the Golf, and Frank Myers.
Of the golf.
Arnold Palmer of Ice-T fame.
I was gonna say that. I'm like, you know what? No, we're going golf route. If Marky Mark gets the Funky Bunch, then Arnie Palmer gets the golf. Take that, Tiger. And Franco Harris,
Of the.
football,
Okay.
the sport, of the Immaculate Reception,
Sports.
sport. So, when the Attorney General's office appeared at the office of Second Mile during its investigation, reports on Sandusky's travel and expense reports from 2000 2003 were missing. They were able to recover 1 year's worth, but yeah, they were mysteriously disappeared. No one knew where they were. But that will wrap up my. Fuck was that? That's not Appa. Goddamn flying bison. Okay, this is for a bit. Oh, that's the room. We're having the room, babe. We're having the room. Can I do it?
Yeah, you want to. Or
No, what do you? Oh, fireball, you fatty. Ah, whatever. Oh, it went away. Calling it bison. Appa. We will be reaching that, and so we're gonna be finishing that show.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait.
So, as I was saying, though, that will conclude my talking of Sandusky for this week. Stay tuned next week where I get into some horrific shit where I will probably take it more seriously and less joking
It
because
gets
it's
worse.
pretty. Oh yeah,
That's where it gets worse.
yeah. Next week is worse. But Billy, I believe you're sticking with PA here and going with the Molly Maguires.
Yeah, again, this was going to be a single episode, but no, I'll take full credit. I'm just lazy and I work a lot.
Yeah, I
If we're
appreciate it.
yeah, like okay, I own it.
Billy don't make excuses.
If we're being honest, I should have pulled the trigger on this last week for St. Patrick's Day, but I'm the procrastination king, see? And I wanted to keep it in Australia with Kodack. This week he was doing something. This week he was doing something in Pennsylvania, so here we are in Pennsylvania. This time we're in my neck of the woods, or coal towns of Schuylkill County. If you grew up here, you've definitely heard the name Molly Maguire a couple thousand times by now. For those that aren't from Bumblefuck, Pennsylvania, the Molly Maguires were a very organized secret society of Irish American coal miner activists, or terrorists if you're the coal companies. There's much speculation on if the Mollys even existed in the. Well, what the hell did I do there? There's much speculation on if the Mollys even existed, but if you're from NEPA, you know they did, and they were American fucking heroes. Oh, the Pinkertons are involved in this too, which I just found out is still a thing. Anyway.
So, one of you know how I knew the Pinkertons were still a thing?
Dollar.
What's that?
Dollar.
Oh no. So when the Rock Red Dead Redemption 2 came out,
Oh yeah, they sued them.
Yeah, they sued Rockstar because the Pinkertons were portrayed in a very negative light.
Oh, probably because they suck.
Yeah, well, You had to shoot him, so
Yeah, well, the name Molly Maguires is believed to come from Mother Ireland. In the 1700s, Ireland was chock full of secret societies like the Ribbon Men and the White Boys because, of course, they did. This was during the time of like the English, whatever happened over there. The groups would burn down houses and kill any Protestant that they weren't a fan of. And let me tell you, they weren't a big fan of the Protsies. Some of the Irishmen would dress up in dresses and makeup and were deemed the Molly Maguires. There's a lot of speculation of this. It could have also been a woman whose tavern was burned to the ground, or where the original Mollies had a meeting, but that all seems more legend than anything. Fast forward to the 1850s in Cook County. Half the people in the county were foreign born, and almost half of those were Irish. Most of them worked in coal mines because at that time it was really the only work they could get at the time. Not many places around here or most of the country wanted to hire the Irish drunkards, as they all thought. If I remember, I'll attach a picture of the Irish need no apply signs that adorn the old jail at Jim Thorpe, which we'll get to later.
it's pretty funny how even back then it was like, God damn immigrants. Half of us aren't from here, but these damn immigrants.
Yeah, like I did build a butcher, and this is all kind of tied in.
Nice.
Not to each other, just the Irish are getting shit on a lot.
We did struggle in this country.
The employees of these mines were broken down between skilled miners who learned through an apprenticeship and the Irish laborers. The skilled miners were considered contract miners and were all English or Welshmen. Basically, this meant the skilled workers would go and mine out what they were contracted for, and then the Irish laborers would go in and pile the coal into the train cars when they were done. The Irish had no room for improvement in the situation as they weren't allowed to advance through the companies. Most of the Irish lived with other Irish families as boarders in homes in the pop-up coal towns that basically still exist over by Monterey City.
We built this city. We built this city on coal mining.
Oh boy, did we. In 1862, work became harder to find due to the war going on at the time. Because of this, the price of coal went up because, of course, you're going to pay your workers more, right? Right. Actually, they did for once. Labor's pay went up. Labor's pay went up 12 a week instead of 6, which sounds great. No. Due to the Militia Act of 1862, the draft hit hard as Google County. We had a Republican governor, and the majority here was Democratic, so politics. Mine bosses began furnishing lists to draft officials, and you guessed it, a lot of O's and mix on the lists. If drafted, the miners would be able to get out of it by either paying $300 or finding someone who wanted to take his spot. Dudes are making $12 a week, and no one's going to take the invitation to walk their ass to Gettysburg.
Let's see here. 12 a week. Divide 300 by 12. Hmm. Yeah, that's about 25 weeks of pay right there.
Yeah,
So really
and they're like,
anything for 25 weeks and you're out of war.
yeah, but like think about it, they have to like live.
Come on. They're Irish. Just get the potato out of the ground.
Things cost money. On October 16th, 1862, 1,000 laborers stopped a transport train of draftees after the governor had himself a little ginger roundup. The men only stood down at the word of an Archbishop Wood. The draft colonel blamed the uprising on the influence of the Molly Maguires. Rich man's war, poor man's fight.
Aye.
That's where that phrase came from, apparently.
Huh. You're welcome.
Over the years, several mines were sabotaged. The one I remember hearing about is the Cass Township attack, where over 200 seemingly Irish laborers attacked the mine. None of the workers recognized any of the men, but they beat the shit out of about 50 people and one random civilian who was probably just being a prick. They warned that if the company store reopened, they would make a volcano of the entire works. The Mollies were suspectedly stopping work at mines to demand higher wages for the super dangerous work they were performing.
Would make a volcano of the entire works. Now that's a threat.
Oh boy, is it. Like, not just, I'm gonna blow it up. No, no, volcano, dude.
We're gonna Mount St. Helens this mine shaft.
Following the war, the population of miners increased. Meanwhile, the price of coal dropped. Wages obviously soon followed. It was also at this time that the idea of railroad police was passed by legislature. Obviously, this was done to try to get a handle on the terrorist attacks happening to the mines and bosses throughout the area. By 1868, crime was supposedly down, but I just assume most things were covered up at that time. Because of this amazing treatment and mistrust shown by the bosses, the laborers formed their own union known as Working Man's Benevolent Association, which was formed in February of 1868. Unionize!
Union, union, union. Remember when I tried forming a union at the office?
Yep.
4 of us.
I want to figure out if furniture makers of the world is a thing.
Furniture makers.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Hey, if not, be the change you want to see. Make your own.
All right, I could convince all 7 of my coworkers of that. In 1870, the Coal Board of Trade proposed to the union a new deal. Oddly enough, it was for a lot less money for the same super dangerous death mines. The union refused the deal and were officially on strike. 3 months later, the president of the Philadelphia and Reading Railroad, Franklin Gowan, became the mediator between the union and the companies. Gowan proposed a new contract, which was basically the miner earns what he mines. Pay was still shit, but the union and coal companies agreed to a new deal.
Improvement, yay.
Yeah, it's basically like however many pounds of coal you mined, that's what you get paid. And then they deduct from your paycheck, like all the shit you used. However, Gowan wasn't the super awesome mediator he seemed to be. He wanted to buy the coal mines in the area. This deal was basically the shittiest one the union would go for, and by now, most of the miners are starving and have families to feed. There was one problem with Gowan attempting to purchase the coal mines in the area. There was a problem. I doubled that line. There was currently
Sure.
legislature stating that there was currently legislature stating that railroad companies couldn't own mines because it would be a monopoly. There was a new bill in the House to overturn it, but Pennsylvania had a senator who was against the bill, so it wasn't being passed. Well, because politicians are just super respectable guys, they waited for the anti-bill guy to go out for lunch and quickly passed the New Deal. The Reading Railroad now owns the mines as a subsidiary.
God, I love this country.
Yeah, they get what's coming to them, though. It's good. I hope I put that in there. Anyway, by 1871, the miners had realized how badly that they had been fucked by this New Deal and were on strike yet again. The union proposed a new deal to the company of a base rate of $2.50, I think, per week. But the Coal Board refused to meet with them. Gowan wrote into the newspaper that a small group of radicals were controlling the working men of the coal region. He basically blasted the Molly Maguires for the entire article, and here's where some doubt comes in that they were actually a real organization in the coal mines. Remember, Schuylkill County, they were totally fucking real.
Fake news, fake news.
By 1873, the Reading Railroad owned over 80,000 acres of coal land and 90 some mines throughout the area. It's still pretty much like this, but it's just called Reading Anthracite. Around this time, Gowan and other railroad and coal officials agreed to fix the price of coal, which was astronomically more than what the miners were being paid. Just another slap into the face of the miners.
Capitalism is great.
Oh, I did put it in here. Shortly after the companies agreed to set the price of coal, the country went into the biggest depression it had ever seen at the time. I mean, we outdid it.
Oh, yeah.
By 1877, 1/5 of men supporting their families were out of work. I believe it was like 1/3 of the Irish population was out of work as well. The depression was blamed on corporations being granted privileges while the workers saw nothing, which sounds real familiar, and I'm going to blame Reading Anthracite for this. Around this time, rumor was the Mollies were back at it again. Mine attendants were beaten, and several suspicious fires began happening in the mines. There was a triple murder in Gilbert all over the coal region. I kind of just wanted to throw Gilbert in there.
They need it. They don't get noted when they're floating.
Yeah, give it up for Gilbert. Because of all the issues happening throughout the mines, Franklin Gowan turned to the Pinkerton Detective Agency. If anyone knows anything about the Pinkertons, they were well known to make up crimes just to get results. The Pinkertons sent Detective James McParlin to infiltrate the Mollies and break up their little Donnybrook. Thought that was clever. Because of the Pinkertons' history, that's another reason a lot of people speculate on if it was actually real or not. That's where I'm going to leave it this week because, again, I had a good jumping off point and I'm lazy.
Fair
Next
enough.
week, we
Fair
get
enough.
next next week we had to find out if the Pinkerton detective manages to actually pull one over on the crafty Irish miners. We'll also get to meet our hometown hero, John Blackjack Kehoe. It gets way worse on all ends next week, and to be honest, I'm still a little pissed about it.
The worst thing for this podcast, me discovering this, you go on Spotify, we can use music.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah. Worst case, someone says, "Hey, take your copyright thing on like for an Apple. If they want to, they can do a thing there." And worse, I just go in and take out that 10 or 15 seconds on that platform. If it's on Spotify, yeah, yeah, we're good to go.
No shit.
Since we go through Spotify, since we publish through Spotify's podcasting section,
Mhm.
we're literally called podcasters. It lets you just have access to the library since they're paying um, these bands and whatnot anyway. You get access to it.
Not well, but
Yeah, it's cheap. It's nothing, but you got yeah.
love you, Spotify. I was kidding.
So that was a really nice intro. Well, to what we're gonna have next week. Can't wait to see all the. Wait, so quick question. I don't know if it comes up next week, but did you have the train explosion in here somewhere?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to know. So now we have titled "Racist Part 2." Very nicely put.
Yeah.
Here, let me just get this mic more to you, aim towards you.
This is my part 2 for Madam Lalaurie, to where I introduced last week her growing up and all of her riches and her many, many husbands that she had.
I don't want to interrupt you later, so I can't say it now.
What?
We were just talking about how March Madness is always these massive upsets. Number 3, Kentucky just lost to 14 Oakland.
Yeah, I got that too.
I just don't interrupt you later during excitement.
During say
It's exciting things. They're showing again right now. Trying to be respectful here, okay? It means that I respect our lovely lady. Okay, I'm done. Go ahead. Love you.
anyways, how we were getting to know her and her 3 husbands. Today we're gonna get into all things terrible, and it will definitely get worse.
Yes.
So, I'm gonna start off with the LaLaurie Mansion fire. On April 10th of 1834, a fire had broke out inside the home of Delphine LaLaurie and her estranged husband. Through all the smoke and the flames, an ugly truth was exposed, and suspicions were then confirmed. The beautiful mansion and home of Madame Lalaurie also held a bunch of ugly secrets. Just within any scandal, the stories and embellishments grew over time, but it was immediate reports and witness accounts of horrifying and atrocious stories that were told. 7 slaves were rescued from the house, their bodies covered in scars and loaded with chains. They were taken out on stretchers and delivered to safety, while the mob proceeded to destroy the furnishing and the home in outrage.
So just making sure I'm following here. they found 7 slaves that were alive.
Yes.
But they were all, like, burnt with scars and chain and loaded chains. Like, chains were still around them, or
Yeah,
okay,
they had chains attached to them. I'll get into that.
okay.
There are no really reports on how the fire had started. There are rumors that one of the slaves had started. Some had said it was a candle that went up in the smoke and it attached itself to curtains and luxurious upholsteries. But a fire broke out and it took over the house rapidly. Judge Jacques Connage was a neighbor of the Lalauries, and he was one of the first to arrive at the fire. Some of the early arrivals began to help Lalaurie transfer their valuables and their safekeepings in case a fire started to spread from its originating place in the kitchen and in the outbuildings of the kitchen area. A few of these concerned citizens began to tell the judge that about the captives, bonds people were, people that were being chained. The judge promptly politely asked them to ask permission of Dr. Lalaurie to have the slaves removed and taken to safety. It was reported that Lalaurie replied that there are those who would be better employed if they were to attend their own affairs instead of meddling with the concerns of other people.
Basically told him to go fuck himself.
Bitch.
In the most polite
And in a typical Southern way.
and southern way.
Bless you, hot darling.
In the
Oh, she
yeah.
definitely started that with "Bless Your Heart."
Oh yeah.
Another case solved until we
With
meet again.
an accent, you could imagine. He was a doctor, of course, so he had to have some kind of
Prestige.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you see here, I'm so fixed I get my pipe. Yes.
I live off my wife's riches.
Madam Lalaurie, who should we torture today?
As the flames began to spread, the judge had give orders to break the doors down. It was then that the citizens were met with a scene that they could never have been prepared for. The mob mentality shifted and people began smashing the contents of the mansion, destroying Lalaurie's property and belongings. No different in the way that Lalaurie had treated the poor people in her home.
Karma's a bitch, you see.
Yeah.
Lalaurie's arms were horribly mutilated, with some suspended by the back of the neck and their extremities stretched out and torn. The judge was accompanied by a few citizens that discovered 2 people of color.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna say that
Eh,
one. One
if it's
wearing
a
an eye
quote, it's okay.
He has a point. If it's a quote like this, it's not like you're dropping a hard R.
yeah, 2 people of color. One was wearing an iron collar, very large and heavy, and was chained with heavy irons by the feet and walked with great difficulty.
Damn.
So he was let out and he was completely
What year is this again?
1800s,
34.
yeah.
Okay, this is like pre-Civil War. Okay.
Days after the fire, it was reported that one of the slaves who had been removed from the residence did not survive, and that bones were removed from Lalaurie's courtyard. It was documented that one of the set of bones were those of a young slave girl that Madam Delphine had chased right out a window, allowing the young girl to fall to her death and then buried her on the property.
So she buried her?
Other slaves bury her.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
As unbelievable as the scene was, there are records of letters written years prior by Jean Bose stating that Delphine had been brought before a criminal court for the barbarous treatment of her slaves, but it was dismissed for lack of accusers willing to testify, saying that they had seen her beat her slaves. So basically, she could have been brought to justice a long time ago, but no one was going to be like, yeah, I'm not fucking with this rich sociopathic
They're
socialite. Yeah. I mean, she was unhinged.
the same thing you saw with, like, the mob before, like, the hidden people thing came out.
Yeah.
Witness
They
protection program.
yeah. How much was accurate in which are embellishments, we'll never know. But it's hard to say what can be denied when there's multiple sources and eyewitness accounts of these cruel and inhumane conditions that Lalaurie kept her enslaved people in. And it should be noted that she was never accused of mistreating her slaves until she married Dr. Louis Lalaurie. Perhaps she began taking her unhappy marriage out on her servants, or maybe she just didn't care about concealing it any longer. Now, after the fire, she did have one of her loyal servants on her staff help her. It was said that the angry citizens tried to desperately hold on to the horses and snatch her from her carriage, yet the coachman used his whip and plunged the horses forward, escaping Lalaurie from the crowd.
Wait a minute. You know how fucked up this has to be? Like, this is during slave time, like big time slave time, and even these people are like freaking out about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not just
It's
like
got,
this is
Yeah, this is deep south.
yeah, that's
so
got to be fucked up.
my curiosity from you doing all this. Do you think this servant was actually loyal to her, or was it like the servant was like fear?
Probably the fact that he was trying to probably get away in the carriage himself and saw her and probably said that I'll give you freedom and some money if you do this for me.
Hmm, okay.
Who knows?
Oh, I was asking what you believe because
Well, I doubt that. I wouldn't think they'd be loyal. I think it'd be more of like being scared.
yeah,
Just because they were just because they were free from the house doesn't mean that she couldn't harm them.
yeah.
He then drove the escape route to deliver her to the docks of the New Orleans Navigation Company, where she boarded and fled. When the coachman arrived back, the determined crowd met the carriage, beginning to destroy the carriage and stab the horses to death.
What the fuck? Okay, now they're taking it too far.
Just as the stories surrounding her cruel and heinous actions towards her slaves have circulated, they also had speculating rumors where she had ended up. Delphine and Louis eventually ended up in Paris with Delphine's children coming over for extended stays. Louis lived off of the Delphine's wealth, just as, a doctor of that time would, but grew tired of her complaining and left her in Paris as he made his way to Havana. Now, just as all, wonderful people such as yourself, we all meet our demise. Delphine McCarty Lalaurie died in Paris on December 7th, 1849. Letters between her and her children talk about lingering illness that she had been suffering from. It's safe to speculate that she probably succumbed to whatever of this mysterious illness was. Her body was reported to be exhumed on January 7th, 1851, and to be sent back to New Orleans. The stories have grown throughout the years, with the torture turning into the most violent acts and human cruelty imaginable. The tales of Madame Lalaurie slaves having holes drilled through their skulls and their limbs being broken and reset in unnatural positions. Lalaurie is she has absolutely committed all these heinous crimes that were um, held against her. The slaves in her possession were absolutely tortured. She is known to be one of the most horrible women in history.
Damn, my mother is in history.
I think this chick's got something on her.
Yeah.
Wait to get a text about that, Joe.
Delphine was a woman who was subjected to extreme mood swings. Maybe you're onto something. Violent fits of a temper, and assumed by many that she was mentally ill. One can imagine her jealous, abandoned, feeling insecure of her body aging, venting her frustrations and her rage out on her slaves.
See, this is kind of bullshit though, because like I have my aging body and I just take it out on myself by drinking.
Well, it's aging faster because you're drinking.
We're still athletes, though.
We are athletes.
Yes.
Yeah, what do you do in the summer?
You're a professional photographer and cheerleader.
Mm,
Beer cracking opener and snack giver.
love this country.
USA.
USA, USA.
Her erratic, perhaps deranged personality and her unhappy relationship with her younger third husband had led her to commit these terrible deeds. I can't just say blame the man. I mean, she had this in her the whole entire time. But because she lived in the early 19th century in New Orleans, she tortured her slaves until the day of the fire and she got away with it.
Jesus Christ.
I put a lot of fun facts in here.
Mm.
Um, so I have a did you know section that I put in here. So did you know that the Lalaurie mansion and her story is one of the most popular ghost stories on the ghost tour in New Orleans?
You think all the time I lived in Louisiana, I would have went down there and did that.
You would think. The Lalaurie mansion and Delphine Lalaurie played a big part in the American Horror Story franchise. But no, that was not the house where they filmed it.
Hey, don't forget to mention Kathy Bates played her, okay?
Yes, Kathy Bates did play her, and I can't imagine her. As I was doing this write up, all I saw was Kathy Bates.
It's the only thing I see this entire, like, this week
whole
and
entire
last
time.
week.
Yeah, okay, and that's what I thought. Yeah, it's hard to imagine anything else. Fun fact, Nicolas Cage owned this house for a short amount of time. He managed his money as well as he managed his acting.
You know, I'm sitting here wondering, like, where did I hear all this shit before? And I just remembered you were telling me as you were writing
Yeah,
this.
he no longer owns the house. This was part of the when he owned the house was part of the times where he hit a wall in his acting, and he actually blamed the curse of this house to have a downfall in his acting career.
Hmm.
Oh, Nick, come on, bro.
The Lalaurie Mansion is widely considered one of the most haunted houses in New Orleans, French Quarter, and many people believe that the ghosts of former slaves are causing most of the hauntings.
Hey, did I see this? Because I did go through the French Quarter.
Maybe you saw it and you just never realized, you never know
It
about
wasn't
it.
like I explored. It was like just driving around, like seeing the city. Possibly, I don't know. But I just remember looking the French Quarter because it's so beautiful. It really is.
I'm
So much
sure.
art and whatnot.
I'm sure the history is probably
Mhm.
oh, I would love to go. So, for almost 200 years, there have been reports of paranormal activities coming from this house. It wouldn't surprise me that many that I put surprised many that hauntings are said to be slaves themselves that Madame Lalaurie kept on the property that had died. Phantom footsteps echo through the house. Many people have stood near the house and have reported feeling as if something was taking over their body, some kind of negative energy.
They became a slave to the energy.
Ah, now there was a point in time where the Lalaurie Mansion was a school for a brief amount of time.
Why?
This was a school for all girls during the late 19th century. At first, it had been one for mixed. It would have been one of the few schools that were made for mixed children, like your, whites, blacks, kind of everything. It was one of the first ones in the city of New Orleans. Soon after, the school at 1140 Royal Street was converted to a strictly all girls, pronounced African American private school. Now, with the short amount of that the school had existed, there had been reports of physical assault that had come to light. It was known that these young girls would approach their teachers with tears in their eyes streaking down their face, with their sleeves rolled up, exposed flesh on their forearms where they had scratches and bruises.
Where did the abuse come from?
When they asked who did this to you, their answer was always the same, the woman.
This is
Spooky.
But these girls were too young to probably be aware of, you know, Delphine's heinous, devastating crimes that had struck that decade. What is it? How many decades before that it happened? It's unlikely that the teachers themselves would tell these girls about the starvation and immoral torture of slaves some decades before. So, where they got the idea of some woman attacking them, um, no documents from accounts existed before this period. All this has just been word of mouth. But the school didn't last very long. Despite nearly 2 centuries that have passed since the fire in 1834. The events of this are still told today. Is the curse real of Lalaurie's mansion? You can hear the entire story of Madam Lalaurie and the hauntings that happened. Can you visit New Orleans ghost tour? Yes. However, the Madame Lalaurie mansion is privately owned by an oil tycoon that lives in Texas, and the new owner made it quite clear since moving into the house in 2013, he does not plan on allowing anybody of the public inside. So you can go
God
on the bus.
damn, Dimmadome.
Yep, there's bus
Duh.
tours all over. There's walking tours of the French quarters of all the haunted properties or the history of the French quarters in New Orleans, but you cannot actually go inside the house, which was honestly quite disappointing.
Well, maybe one day he'll croak.
I was gonna make a joke, but it wasn't appropriate.
We are very well known for our appropriateness here.
Yeah, I was just didn't, didn't want to go into the room, like the attic area where most of the hauntings and the torture slaves were,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to. I thought maybe it's not the creaking of the wood. I thought maybe it was the smell of fried chicken.
Well, on that note, that's going to do it for us here this week. The Full Send Rejects. I'd like to thank my co-hosts here, Billy and Rose, for bringing some. I was thinking about something nice to say, but that was just terrible.
Why
My
did you
joke?
do it?
Your
Billy, thank you
sexual
for your
joke?
contributions this week. Rose, get help.
Oh, okay.
Your inner Freudian's coming out.
Sandusky.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Um, but no, if you do not want to cancel us for that, please follow us on our socials. Some happenings might be happening there soon as we support Billy's reemergence in the comedy.
Yeah.
Um, we just recently posted his second stand-up, about 5 minutes, on our TikTok. I'll be posting on our socials soon. And that one actually blew up a little bit.
Yeah.
Billy's a little viral right now.
Oh, look at Billy go.
He has
Oh yeah,
he had
TikTok sensation.
in out of like 12 hours, he was like 1,500 people watched it. Comments were coming in, people were enjoying it, liking it. People saved it to their favorites. So yeah, you're a thing, Billy.
Fuck yeah.
But we'll be putting that on our other socials. I had to put our link tree on all of our socials too, so people can just one click to see everything that we have, and get our store going soon. I've been so goddamn busy. I haven't really had time to go look at anything.
Like,
Yeah, I really was doing the
We have
TikTok alcohol
yeah,
reviews too, and it's been our lives have been so crazy and so busy.
yeah. It's just the second I have time to where I don't have to do anything, it's like, do I work on the podcast on one of these things, or do I just like relax a little bit? And I get up at 4:15 every morning. I'm fucking tired. Okay.
Relaxing is always the
Yeah.
oh, I
The
sat down, it's too
the
late.
mistake is I sit down and my laptop's not near me.
yep, every time.
That is your go-to thing. Nope, I fucked up.
I
I
sat
sat
down.
down.
Fuck. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, I guess I got a drink now.
Oh no, look at me. I fell into the couch with the remote in my hand.
Oh, is that a beer nearby? Oh shit.
What's
Was
that,
that
Eric?
David Attenborough?
Either way, we thank everyone for listening this week. We hope you enjoyed today's programs. We will see. What are you doing over there? Playing the fuck. We will see you, beautiful bastards, next time. And until then, full fucking send it.
Full send it.
I'll send it.
Yay, we did it.
All right.